Hey guys, so today we have my makeup inventory and I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently than I have in the past. Normally it's just me talking to you, kind of sharing photos of each category of my collection along with some numbers, but this time I'm going to film it actually overhead style, so you'll get like a really close-up hands-on look of each category of my collection. We will go over the numbers, although at the beginning of this year I did decide to stop setting like number goals for each category just because I don't feel like I really need that anymore. I don't feel like I need that much structure for this, but I do think it's a really good exercise still to periodically just like take inventory, take stock of your makeup collection, get your hands on everything, just remind yourself of what you own. So I do think this will be a good way to do these videos moving forward, but I am curious to hear how you guys like this format versus my previous format, or if you don't care either way, that's fine too. I will also have some like infographics going up on the screen of like how each category has changed and evolved over time as far as like the number of products, and we're also going to go over the total number of products in my collection and how that has changed over time. I do always love filming these videos, so let's go ahead and take a look at my makeup inventory as of March 2022. Okay, so starting out with the primer category, I have three, although only one of them is a full size, the other two are minis. But I have the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, which honestly is kind of like a multi-purpose product. It can be a primer, it can be a base product, like it actually does have some coverage to it. It can be a liquid highlighter, it can be a mixer, so this is kind of a lot of things in one, but I am just going to go ahead and include it in my primer category, even though I don't always use it for that purpose. And then I have this deluxe sample of the Smashbox Vitamin Glow Primer, so very mini size of that. And I am happy that I have a very small primer collection because I honestly don't wear primer most days. Really the only time I would reach for a primer typically would be to extend the wear of my makeup, which is kind of what both of these are for, but you know, I probably only reach for this kind of thing like a handful of times a month, so it doesn't make sense for me to have like a huge primer collection. So I'm really happy with these three and that they don't take up a whole lot of space in my collection. Okay, so the next category is foundations, and I currently have 8 of these, as you can see. These are kind of my more light coverage foundations. I have the Urban Decay Hydromaniac, the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk, the Undone Beauty Unfoundation Matte Tint, which is really more of like a skin tint. Like this is very, very light coverage. The Ilia Super Serum Skin Tint, and then these are my more like medium to full coverage foundations. The Oma Beauty Say What Foundation, the Colourpop Pretty Fresh, which is my favorite drugstore foundation. The NYX Born to Glow, this one is in my Project Pan currently, and I'm making good progress on that, so I'm hoping to have this finished this year. And then the Kosas Revealer Foundation, which is probably my current favorite. This is a good like medium coverage, very skin-like foundation, so those are my 8 foundations. This is definitely more foundations than I think I would like to have at a time. But I do genuinely like all of these and I use all of them, so I'm okay with that, but I definitely don't want this to grow really beyond this right now. If anything, I do want to use some of these up before I acquire any new ones. I do have my 2 foundation shade adjusting drops. I always have these 2, pretty much every makeup inventory video. You see both of these. I have a lightener and a deepener. These are from Ulta Beauty. They discontinued these a long time ago, and these are actually getting kind of old. It may be time to declutter these at some point soon because I'm not sure if they're still good, but I do still have those. So the next category is concealer, and as you can see I have 5 of these, but one of them is a mini, the Urban Decay Stay Naked, and then one of them is almost gone. Like this will probably be gone within the next month. This is the Pacifica Liquid Cover Concealer. And then these 3 full-size ones are the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo, the CoverGirl Clean Fresh, and the Kosas Revealer Concealer. I would say my favorites are the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo and the Kosas Revealer Concealer. The e.l.f. one is my go-to like fuller coverage one, and the Kosas is my go-to like skin-like medium coverage. But I also really like the Urban Decay Stay Naked on the under eyes. It's a little bit more of like a soft matte finish, and the CoverGirl Clean Fresh is kind of my go-to like lighter coverage, light makeup day sort of concealer. So those are my concealers, and I'm really happy with this number of concealers. I do have one color corrector as well. This is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector in the shade Light to Medium. I like to tap it actually on top of my concealer when I want just a little bit more brightening on the under eyes. I do use it for a slightly different purpose than my concealer, so that's why I have it in kind of a category of its own. But that is my one and only color corrector. Alright, so this next category is setting sprays. So as you can see, I have 5 of these, but again, one of them being a mini of the Urban Decay All Nighter, just the original. Then I have the new all-nighter vitamin C version. I actually just got this in PR today, so just now kind of testing this out, curious to see how it compares to the all-nighter. I also have the Chill, which again I feel like is really similar to the all-nighter. This one I received in PR a while ago. This is probably the first one that I would want to use up out of all these. It is my oldest, and I feel like I don't need to have all three of these in my collection. I do feel like the Chill is quite similar to the original all-nighter. And these two from Makeup Revolution, the Fix and Glow and the Super Fix Super Hold Misting Spray. The Fix and Glow is my favorite. I think this is actually my favorite out of all of these. It's got a nice luminosity to it, but it also doesn't feel tacky or greasy or anything. And then the Super Fix I don't think I love. Kind of just feels like a hairspray. It's kind of aggressive. But yeah, those are my setting sprays. I feel like I probably don't really want to have quite this many. I would like to use up a couple of these this year. Probably the Chill one would be the first one that I would want to use up. Maybe wouldn't put it in a project pan, but just kind of make a point to use that one until it's gone. So these are all of my face powders. So I have a few loose and a few pressed ones. I have the Pacifica Crystal Rays Luminous Setting Powder. It's like a white kind of translucent setting powder that has a little bit of a sheen to it. It's not my favorite, but I am able to make it work. The e.l.f. Halo Glow. This is honestly a really nice loose powder. The Bare Minerals Original Mineral Veil. This is actually a mini. This was the Ulta birthday gift in December. This is fine, but I don't really like it any better than the e.l.f. Halo Glow. And then the pressed ones I have are these four. I have the famous Kosas Cloud Set Powder in the shade Airy. I like it, but I don't feel like it's like necessarily worth the hype. The e.l.f. Sheer Tint Finishing Powder. This is a really good one. I do have pan in that. The CoverGirl Clean Fresh, which I also have major pan in. I love this one. I think this is my favorite out of all of these. Just a great all-purpose setting powder. And finally, the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in the shade Diffused Light. I just have the mini of this as well. So those are all my powders. I do feel like this is, again, more powders than I really need. In an ideal world, I'd have like one loose powder and one pressed powder, and that would be it. But somehow I always seem to have more than that. I do use all of them. I think I'll probably use up at least these two this year. So, you know, it's manageable. But I do think I am probably going to hold off on buying any new powders until I at least use up a couple of these. Alright, so next category is bronzers / contours. I'm just going to start combining those into one just to make it a little bit easier. I also decided I'm going to start counting any face palette bronzers as like one bronzer each. So I have 3 of those in my BH Cosmetics Belgian Waffle palette. Love those. I have my Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in Sunkissed, a nice kind of cooler toned bronzer. My Oma Beauty Double Take Contour Stick, which is one of my favorite cream contours. My Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. Love this. Splurged on this. Did get it on a little bit of a sale back around the holidays. That was my first Charlotte Tilbury purchase. Really loving that. I have the shade Fair. It is a very light bronzer, but it's nice if you have fair skin. Like, we're talking very fair skin. If your skin is any deeper than mine, you'd probably find this a little bit too light. The Flower Heat Wave Bronzer. That's a liquid bronzer. I'm not in love with this. I got that in PR. It's not my fave, but, you know, I use it from time to time. Then I have the Soul Body Bronzing Balm. This is my favorite cream bronzer. I have the shade Fair. This is also massive, so this will last you forever. The Jordana Powder Bronzer. This brand no longer exists, but it was one of my favorite drugstore brands back in the day before they closed. And the Revolution Mega Bronzer in Cool. So quite an array of bronzers, quite an array of price points and formulas. Yeah, 10 bronzers / contour products. It's kind of a lot, but I feel like they all are slightly different from one another, and, you know, I have a nice variety of different formulas, so I'm okay with this amount, but again, I don't want this to grow too much beyond what it is right now. Alright, so the next category is another pretty big one. We have highlighters, again, counting any face palette highlighters in here as well. So I have a total of 16, including the 3 that are in my BH Belgian Waffle palette, and the 1 that is in my Aether Beauty Amber cheek palette, and then the 1 that's in this blush and highlight duo from Kosas. That's their Papaya 1972 duo. That's a nice kind of peachy toned highlighter in there. I'm also counting each of these in the Pixie Glowy Gossamer duo as one each. That has a nice kind of champagne toned one and then a rosy toned one. Really love that one. Then I have both of my Aether highlighters. I have Pink Diamond Dust and Pure Diamond Dust. These are probably my favorite 2 highlighters at the moment. Pure Diamond Dust is a nice kind of silvery pink toned one. And then Pink Diamond Dust, you can see I've used a ton of this. This is more of like a rose gold peachy toned one. Then I have my Knobless Skin Glazing highlighter in the shade Privilege. Love that one as well. This is another kind of peachy pink one. I have my Becca highlight in Champagne Pop Classic. That's just a mini of that one. I have this Estate Baked highlighter in the shade Lit. And then this is, I think they call this their Supernova highlighter in the shade Lunar. It's a lot like a Colourpop Super Shock type of formula, very kind of cream to powder cushiony formula. Then I do have a Colourpop Super Shock Cheek. That is the shade Monster, kind of duochrome pink one there. And then these are my 3 cream highlighters. I have the cream side of the Oma Double Take Contour Stick. This is the shade White Pearl, by the way. My Becca Liquid Highlighter in Champagne Pop. That is currently in my project pan. Hoping to have that finished this year. And then the Undone Water Highlighter in the shade Rose Lit, which is also kind of a rosy toned highlighter. So those are all my highlighters. I have 16 total, which is definitely more than any one person needs, but I do love them all. But as you can tell, I do have a weakness for cheek products, so this is another category where I'm trying not to bring in too many additional ones and just trying to get use out of what I have. Alright, so then we have blushes. I don't have as many blushes as I do highlighters. I do have 13 blushes, including cream, liquid, and powder. So I have the LYS Cream Blush in the shade Kindness. Love that one. My new favorite, this is the Milani Cheek Kiss Cream Blush in the shade Nude Kiss. That is a stunning, like, rosy nude color. The Undone Lip to Cheek palette in Dahlia, which is a nice kind of like deeper rosy color. The All Good Get Glowing blush in the shade Jam, and that actually has SPF 15 in it, which is kind of nice. The Clove & Hallow Hydra Tint Serum Blush is my favorite liquid blush, one of my favorite blushes in my whole collection, and this is currently in my project pan. I am working on using that up this year. My Milani blush in Luminoso, that is a classic. The e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush in Always Cheeky. The CoverGirl Cheekers Blush in Natural Twinkle. This I am also trying to pan this year. You can see I'm making quite a bit of progress on that. This is another newer one to me. This is the Flower Beauty Flower Pots blush in the shade Sweet Pea. Really pretty, kind of cool toned baby pink color. The e.l.f. Bite Size Cheek Duo in the shade Lychee. This one I'd count as just one blush because I typically just mix the two shades together. That highlighter is clearly too dark for me to use as a highlighter, so I just use it as kind of a mixer with the other one, but there's that nice affordable option. Then of course the blush side of the Kosas Papaya 1972 Duo, and then I have 2 blushes in this Aether Amber cheek palette. Really love both of those. Great, like, bright spring blushes. So those are my 13 blushes. I honestly do love them all. I feel like I have a little bit of everything in terms of undertones, formulas as well, and I'm trying not to bring in too many more. I mean, I'm fine with buying like 1 or 2 here and there, but I don't want this to grow too much beyond what it is right now. So next category is brows, and I have exactly 4 products in this category. I have my ABH Dip Brow Pomade in Taupe, and I have had this for quite a while. You can see I've used a ton of it, but I also still have a ton left. I definitely recommend a brow pomade if you're wanting like the most bang for your buck because they take forever to go through. Then the other like brow filling in product I have is the Urban Decay Brow Blade. This has a pencil side and a marker side. I could honestly do with just the marker. That's the main reason why I bought this, but I do use both sides and I really enjoy this. I really like the marker side for getting those like true hair-like strokes. I also have this e.l.f. Shape and Stay Brow Wax. This is nice for just kind of pushing the brow hairs into place before I fill them in with the pomade. That's typically how I use it. Provides a little bit of hold and also just helps you shape and like push your brows into place. And then I have one brow gel, the Pacifica Highest Def Hemp Fiber Brow Set in the shade Clear. Just a basic clear brow gel. I don't love this one. It doesn't really give much hold, which I feel like is kind of the whole point of a brow gel, so kind of trying to use that up. But I'm happy with my brow collection as well. I don't really like to have more than one of each type of product in my collection, so this is nice and minimal. I have everything I need here. So this next category is eyelid primers, and I do have 4 of these, but a few different types within this category. So I do have 2 just kind of regular eyelid primers. One is the Urban Decay Primer Potion, and the other is the CoverGirl Lid Lockup Primer. The Urban Decay one honestly is almost gone, or at least it looks like it's almost gone. I mean, I probably still have quite a few months of use left out of this, but ideally I would only have one of these at a time, but I do just happen to have both of these at the moment. And then I do have a glitter primer as well. This is the NYX Glitter Primer. Love having one of these on hand as well to really help shimmers pop. And then I also like to have a white base. These are really good for helping pastels and just like otherwise not as pigmented shadows pop really well. So this is the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. Ideally, I'd only have 3 in this category, 1 regular eyelid primer, a glitter primer, and a white base, but at the moment I have 4, which really isn't that bad, and hopefully soon I will be finishing off this Urban Decay Primer Potion. Okay, so this next category is definitely the biggest it's ever been. We have eyeliners here. So over the last year, I've really just gotten into eyeliner. I wear it almost every day. I often wear more than one every day. Like I'll wear a black or brown one on the top lash line, and then I'll wear like something colorful on the lower waterline, or I'll tightline with one thing and do a wing with the other. So I'm just a big eyeliner fan these days. As you can see, I've accumulated quite a few more than I had in previous inventories. But I do have a total of 16 eyeliners now. I definitely would like to cut this down a little bit. Really my goal, it's not so much about the number of eyeliners, but I don't want to have too many duplicate shades, so that's kind of what I'm working on right now. But I have 4 liquid liners, and these are all different colors. I have the Makeup Revolution liquid liner in Sky Blue, nice cobalt blue. Really love this type of color for eyeliner. I have this liquid liner from Anastasia that came in their Sultry Vault. That's just a black one. I have a pastel yellow one from NYX. This is their Vivid Brights in the shade Vivid Halo. They don't make this anymore, but that is actually currently in my project pan. I'd like to use it up soon. And then the Flower Beauty Foreverwear winged liner in the shade Dark and Stormy. This is a nice deep brown like felt tip liner. So those are my liquids, and then all the rest are pencil liners. So I do have 2 black pencil liners, which is why I'm currently trying to pan one of them, the Marc Jacobs Highliner. This is actually just a mini. This is currently in my project pan, hoping to use that up this year. And I also have the CoverGirl Exhibitionist Kohl Eyeliner Pencil in the shade Black. So ideally, I really only need to have 1 black pencil liner, but currently have 2. And then all the rest are different shades, so I don't have any other like duplicate shades in here. But I do have 4 of these CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus retractable liners. I have the shade Charcoal, which is a gray khaki, which is a nice kind of like taupey olivey gray, Espresso, which is a dark brown, and Midnight Blue, which is a navy blue. So that's those. I love that Perfect Point Plus formula. Very nice and creamy, nice and thin, fine tip, so it's really easy to tightline with. Then I have 2 of the Urban Decay 24/7 eyeliner pencils. I love both of these colors. I have the shades Roxy, which is a nice royal blue, and Overdrive, which is a dark kind of forest green. And then I have 4 of these NYX Epic Wear liner sticks, Orange Zest, Rose Gold, Chill Blue, and Periwinkle Pop. So this is actually my favorite pencil liner formula. Just very long wearing, great for the waterline. So those are all my eyeliners. I've definitely developed quite a love for eyeliners over the past year. So yeah, I definitely don't need to have this many, but I do love them all and I use them all, so that counts for something, I guess. The next category I have is mascaras, and I have 3 of these at the moment, which is a pretty typical number for me. I try to only have 1 or 2 open at a time. Ideally 1, but if I ever have one open that I'm not in love with, I will let myself open up another one just so that I don't have to like suffer through only using a mascara that I don't like. So this first one is the Milk Makeup Rise Mascara. I took off the rubbery outside thing, so it looks different than it would look if you were to buy this, but I don't love this. I definitely don't think it's anything special. I don't recommend it, and it does flake quite a bit, so I wouldn't recommend that, but I am going to go ahead and use it up while I have it. That's what the wand looks like on the Milk one, just kind of a slightly curved brush. And this other one is the Urban Decay Lash Freak. I just have the mini of this. This is one of my favorites. I actually repurchased this after having the full size of this a while ago. And it's a really crazy looking brush, but this just makes my lashes look so dramatic. There's really no other mascara I've tried that gives my lashes this much dramatic impact. And then this is my only unopened mascara. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Push Up Lashes. It's just a little tiny deluxe sample. This I got as a gift with purchase from the Charlotte Tilbury website, so I have yet to open this. I am really excited to try it. I'm not going to show you the brush because I don't want to open it yet, but yeah, I'm excited to give that a try soon. And I'm curious to see how many uses I can get out of this tiny mini. Alright, so this next category is single eyeshadows that are individually packaged. I have magnetic singles in a separate category, and I have 6 of these at the moment. I do count my 1 cream shadow stick in this category as well. This is the Supergoop Shimmer Shade in the shade Daydream. This is an SPF eyeshadow. The SPF itself has actually expired, but I haven't even had this for a full year yet, so I might continue using it as an eyeshadow, I might not. This will probably get decluttered at some point this year just because it doesn't really serve the purpose that I bought it for originally, but I also just don't think this is worth the money, by the way. Then I have the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize Cream Shadow in the shade Rose Gold. So I really do like this formula, but I don't think Rose Gold is really worth the money. I wish I had gotten Oyster Pearl instead. So that seems to be the one that most people think is unique. So yeah, this is just kind of your basic Rose Gold, but it is a really lovely formula, very, very creamy and soft. This is a recent purchase, the Ulta Beauty Bouncy Eyeshadow in the shade Italian Ice. This is kind of similar to a Colourpop Super Shock shadow, and it's a nice kind of taupey color with a silver shimmer. Really pretty one and done shadow. It does crease somewhat though, so that is my only complaint. I have just one Colourpop Super Shock shadow. I used to have more, but the other one's dried out. This one though has stayed good for a long time. This is their Super Shock in the shade Liberty, which is just a true, like, really, really metallic silver. This one I am ashamed to say I haven't even used yet. A friend actually decluttered this to me. This is their single shadow in the shade Flame Point. Really, really vibrant orange color. I think I'll probably get some good use out of this in the summer. I'll have to roll this into my makeup basket at some point soon. But I have heard really good things about the Sugar Pill eyeshadow formula, so I'm excited to use that. And this last one is the Urban Decay Cream Shadow Stick in the shade Fishbowl. Really pretty, like, bright light blue. This could work as a cream shadow or as an eyeliner as well, but I include it in this single shadow category. So those are my 6 single shadows. I feel like this is a pretty good number. Lately I have gotten more into like individual like one and done shadows like these two, but I definitely don't want to have too many more than this in my collection at a time. Next I have liquid shadows, and I do have 5 of these. One of them is like a dual-ended one, so I count each one as 2. However, one of those is completely separated and unusable. This is the Becca Light Gleam liquid eyeshadow, like primer and topper thing. I never really liked this side to begin with, the shimmery side that's now like separated beyond repair. But the main reason why I kept this is this side. This is like a nice dusty blue. This can be worn as like a cream shadow base, or I've also worn it as like a liner as well. So I kept it for that, although I can't say I've used it very much in the past like year or so. This is sort of on my like mental chopping block, but I would like to try and use that some more this spring, so maybe I'll roll that into my makeup basket next time. And then I also have 3 of the Black Moon liquid shadows. These are really pretty toppers, kind of similar to like the Stila Shimmer and Glows, and they're all kind of duochrome. These were actually sent to me by that same friend who sent me the Sugar Pill shadow, but it's Luna, Zenith, and Moonrise. Those are the 3 shades I have, and you've seen these make quite a few appearances in my Shop My Stash makeup basket. I'm always just trying to make an effort to use these so that I don't let them dry out in my collection, because I know liquid shadows like this can dry out pretty easily. So those are my 5 liquid shadows, really 4 if we're just counting the usable ones, but yeah, I try to keep a pretty small collection of this type of thing just because they can dry out pretty easily. Alright, so then we have magnetic singles. I have exactly 20 of these, and that number has stayed about the same for the past like 2 years. I really am trying not to buy any new ones of these just because I tend to just reach for palettes more anyway. I just gravitate to those more. But I do think I've been doing a better job of reaching into these, especially since starting my Pan Those Eyeshadows series, and I also like to try to throw some into my makeup basket from time to time just to make sure I'm not neglecting them. These 2 here are actually in my Pan Those Eyeshadows series right now, which is why they're in this separate compact. But that's Colourpop La Playa and Natasha Denona Silk. And then these are all Colourpop except for these 2, which are Makeup Geek, and then all of these larger pan ones are Clarity Cosmetics. And I really highly recommend the Clarity Cosmetics formula. They make fantastic, like super pigmented mattes and shimmers. They're all really stunning. I do have a category for duos, trios, and quads, and I currently only have 1 quad, and it is this Aether Beauty Ametrine quad. I love this one. This is a great, just kind of everyday rose gold mauve-y quad. Yeah, I used to have more, but I ended up decluttering some of my other ones that I wasn't using as much, and so that's my one and only quad. Wouldn't be opposed to having more in this category, but I'm also happy with just 1. Okay, so this next category is eyeshadow palettes, and I'm going to be dividing this into high-end and drugstore. So these are my higher-end and also like indie brand palettes. I have a total of 24 palettes in my collection right now, and as you can see here in this high-end / indie category, I have 14. So I'll give you a quick overview of these. I've got the Estate Resort palette, Sigma Enchanted, Shared Planet Polar Bear, Billy Beauty Eyes of India. I have 4 ABH palettes, Soft Glam, Sultry, Subculture, and Norvina. I have 2 Aether Beauty palettes. That's their original Rose Quartz palette up top, and then their new Desert Sunset palette. 2 Urban Decay palettes, Stoned Vibes and Naked Wild West. I have the Clarity Cosmetics So Mermazing palette, and another from Estate. This is their Mystic Forest palette. Alright, I decided to open them all up as well so we could get a feel for the colors that I have in here. So just a quick little overview of those. Good mix of like colorful and neutral palettes here. And then my other 10 palettes are here. These are all drugstore and just more like drugstore priced palettes. So I have 3 from BH Cosmetics. I have their Summer in Saint-Tropez, Mimosa, Lost in Los Angeles. Then I have 2 from Flower Beauty, their Desert Lights and their Jungle Lights. Elf, Earth and Ocean. 2 from Colourpop, I have Miss Bliss and In a Trance. And then 2 from Profusion, I have their Beam It Up palette. That was like a limited edition Halloween palette last year, although I do think they still sell that on their website. And then the Profusion Mauves palette, which is another favorite. And there are all those palettes opened up. Honestly, most of my drugstore palettes are more colorful than neutral. Other than like the Flower Desert Lights palette, that one is on the more neutral side, and then Mauves is like somewhat more like everyday colors, but most of these are kind of like fun colors. So there is a closer look at those drugstore palettes. Alright, so then we have lipsticks, both bullet and liquid lipsticks. This is definitely my largest category in terms of just the number of products. I do have 30. These are my nude lipsticks, and I have 11 of those. Some of them are more peachy, some more pink, some more like mauve-y. And then this middle row is my bold lipsticks that are not red. I have 10 of those. And then this third category is my reds. I know this is excessive, and I have 9 of those. So this category I am actively trying to keep at or below 30, honestly. I just think 30 is more than enough. So this year I did decide I'm only going to be buying 5 lipsticks, regardless of how many I use up or declutter. I'm capping it at 5. So far I haven't bought a single new lipstick this year, so go me. Hopefully this number will even continue to go down. All right, so next I have the category of lip liners. This category has also grown quite a bit, I think, since my last inventory update. I have 11 of these. So I've got like a good handful of nude ones, and then as far as like bolder colors, I have a red, I have a deep plum, and I have like a hot pink. So I feel like I pretty much have all my bases covered as far as lip liners go. I don't feel like I have a need for any other shades at this point. So I don't think this will grow too much. But I also don't think it'll shrink just because I really do love all of these. So yeah, those are my lip liners. And by the way, I really like storing my lip liners and eyeliners in a cup. I just find that rather than having them like shoved away in a drawer, this way I'm able to see them all. So I feel like I'm less likely to neglect any of them. All right, and then for this very last category, I have lip glosses. So I have exactly 10 lip glosses. One of them is actually a lip stain. This is the e.l.f. Glossy Lip Stain. But I just include it in this category. And then the rest are all kind of like your traditional glosses. I have a little bit of everything here. I've got some like nude pinks, some more like sheer, like golden toned ones. This one is like a coral. I have like a couple clear ones, so a little bit of everything. And one of these is actually soon to be empty, the Milani Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper. So this number will be down to 9 very soon. And I'm pretty much always actively panning one lip gloss. So once I'm done with that one, I think I'm going to roll my e.l.f. lip plumping gloss into my project pan, the Pink Cosmo one. So I'm looking forward to getting this number down a little bit this year. But I feel like 10 is still a pretty manageable number for me, even though I know it still kind of looks like a lot, but I'm okay with it. Okay, so this last part that I wanted to share is the total number of products in my collection and how that number has changed since a year ago. So there are a few different ways that I could have calculated this, but the way I decided to do it was, as far as magnetic singles, rather than counting each magnetic single as one product, I just decided to count my entire collection of magnetic singles as 2 palettes because they all fit into 2 kind of medium-sized magnetic palettes. But then when it comes to blushes, bronzers, and highlighters, I am counting those by individual pans. So rather than counting a face palette as one product, I'm counting that as 3 bronzers and 3 highlighters, for example. So that's how I arrived at these numbers, but as you'll see here, my current total number of products is 185, and a year ago at this time it was 147, so it has grown by 38 products total, and it has steadily risen. So again, I don't really have any specific number goals when it comes to the total number of products in my collection, but you know, as long as everything fits in my drawers and it's not overflowing and I feel like I like everything that I have and I'm able to use everything that I have, I'm happy with the number. So I do feel like right around the size that it is now, or like maybe anything under 200 products total, is probably a good number for me, but I'm really curious to see how this number continues to evolve over the next year. So anyway, that is it for this makeup inventory video. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing a glimpse into my makeup collection and seeing all these graphs. I definitely enjoyed making them, just kind of getting a look at how things have changed over time. Really curious to hear how you guys liked this style of inventory video, or if you prefer it the way that I used to do it. I'm also happy to go back to doing it that way. So looking forward to chatting with you guys in the comments. I hope you all are having an amazing day. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. I upload 4 videos every week, and hopefully I will talk to you again very soon in my next one. Bye!